Hello everybody, welcome to my new channel Code Every Day, where I'm going to be uploading new coding videos every day. The projects in these videos are going to start off very small, like this first one that we have here called integer comparison, where we're just going to be comparing two ints, to ending up being very hard, difficult, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure on what the ending projects will be, but we're just going to be coding every day for as long as we can. These videos will be assuming you have some programming knowledge for the first couple ones. Later on, when we get into more complicated concepts, you will need to know more. Like I said, the first project we're going to be doing today is called integer comparison. We're going to be doing it in C. Very simple. We're just going to get two integers from the user. I should comment this. Two integers from the user and compare if the first is bigger than the second. The user. So, in C, I have some boilerplate right now, just including the standard IO library and just having an int main so I can run it, and we should have a return 0 here. So, to get two integers from the user, we can use, first we're going to need a place to store those two integers, so we're going to have an int called first and an int called second. Then, we're going to actually get them from the user, right? So, we're going to use the function scanf, just because it's very simple, very easy to use. We're going to take an int, and we're going to pass it the reference to first, and then we're going to do another one, %d, whoops. Now scanf puts a new line automatically when you press enter, so you don't need to do that new line unless you want it on the next line. So, and second. Okay, so now we should have our first two variables. If I compile it here, I'm using GCC just with the dash wall warning all command line option. So we compile it. We're not having it be any output file. There we go, compile it. So it's just going to be a.exe since I'm on Windows. So if I run this, it'll just be blank, but we know we should enter a number, 5, 6, nothing else happens. But that's good, it seems to be working. Let's go ahead and make this nicer with a printf beforehand, just saying enter a integer. And then let's copy this line and enter a second integer. And then that should be a little bit nicer. And then what we can do just to make sure that we have the right ints in here, %d, %d. %d just means an int. So this is looking for an int, and this is looking for an int as well. And it's going to store the int here. And in this case for printf, it's going to take the int that is stored at this location of these variables and put it into the string instead. So if we compile this now, and then run it again, we get enter an integer. That's much nicer than it was. So 10, enter a second integer, 15. And there we go, we have 10 and 15, just like we should. So we can go ahead and delete this line. So now to the actual main part of the program, we're going to compare those numbers, right? So if first is less than second, then we're going to do something. And then same thing for else if first is greater than second. I'm going to do something again. Do something. And then we can do a third else, or we can just do a third else if, or we could just do an else, because this will catch everything and it should only be one of three things. We know that this case is going to be first equals second. So now instead of this do something, we're going to just print out a string. So we're going to print out percent, oh, deleted a quotation mark, so %d is less than, let's make it look nice, %d, and then do a new line, not capital D. And then we'll do first comma second. And then we can copy this line down to each one of these and change the text accordingly. So first is greater than, so greater than second, and then first is equal to. Delete this, whoops, delete this then. And there we go. Our first program should be done, our first little project. Like I said, very simple, shouldn't take too long. And there will be other solutions up. Let's run it just to make sure before I say anything else. case I did something on accident. So we don't get any warnings. That's very good. So let's do 4 and 25. 4 is less than 25. Okay. Let's do 4 and 4. 4 is equal to 4. Let's do 10 and 5. 10 and then 5. 10 is greater than 5. Awesome. So we're getting the right output for all three options. Now something that to note is, like, if we put A here, we're going to get weird input because that's not what's supposed to be put in. Later on we'll fix that with command line arguments and not using scanf, because scanf is flawed, but for right now it's okay. But it works if the user enters the right things, and if the user doesn't put like spaces or anything. I guess it does work if you just put spaces, but if you put it and then you put in the 1, it should still work. Yeah, 1 is less than 5. So as long as the user doesn't enter some weird combination of letters, then it'll work. Alright, well, I want to thank you guys for watching. This is the first part of hopefully many parts to come on my Code Everyday series. We're going to be ramping up the projects as we go. If you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe for the next ones to come, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.